Hello, hello, Alfonso, and welcome to the LizyT radio show. How are you today?
I am fantastic. And yourself?
Oh, it's such an honor and a privilege to have somebody like yourself here at the LizyT radio show, all the way from Ottawa here in Toronto. And we're all dying to know what got you started. First of all, not that you need any warming up, but just pretend that you're talking to a long girlfriend and you're just having a good time. And I love to ask this question just to relax, not that you'll need this, but what's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink actually happens to be a nice cup of wine, red wine, actually.
Red one, fantastic. We've had everything here at the LizyT radio show, from wine to beers and to Shirley Temple's pina coladas, and my favorite, which is lemon water, and tea, which I'm actually drinking today, decaf. So yes, it's all wonderful. So let's get started, Alfonso. I mean, I have been following you for a little while after I went to Ottawa and had an opportunity to see a couple of people that have been following, and I thought, you are actually a perfect person to have on the LizyT radio show. And reason being is because this show is just like yours, supposed to inspire people, supposed to help people, and it's supposed to network. And this is the reason I created the LizyT radio show. And when I'm on Ottawa, first thing we have to do, Alfonso, we have to hook up. So let's go back a little bit. Your bio tells me that you are originally from Central America, El Salvador, and you came to Canada. Now, you grew up in hardship. You weren't always this successful. Can you tell us how did this from being in poverty? I don't like to use that word, actually. As you notice, I didn't use it on the blog. But you weren't always this successful. How did the transition started?
Well, I want to touch on a little bit on that, Lizy. On the, you talked about I came from Central America. I was actually in two wars. The first one, my mom. In the 80s. I don't know if you remember anything about Latin America in the 80s, you'll realize that there was some civil wars happening in Central America especially. And my mom was the owner and director of a API news agency. And this news agency was responsible for writing stories, in particular about the government. She would speak of the truth, of the things that were happening. And as you know, in those times, especially, the governments didn't like that. And what happened is she got completely shut down, and she was sentenced to 30 years in jail.
Wow!
And I actually had to go into hiding. I was 2 years old at the time, and I went to live with my grandparents, and they kept me in hiding for over 3 years for fear of kidnapped by the government. And those 3 years, I basically stayed indoors. I was not allowed outside. I was not allowed to play with other kids. And in those times, from my memory of it, is where I developed my imagination, my creativity. Because I spent a lot of time by myself, and I had created a lot of different friends that didn't exist. And I'll tell you, Lizy, my best friend in the whole world was a chicken. And you know how we do it back home. We bring a chicken and we feed it and we fatten it up and then we kill it. So one day I lost my best friend. So that was my start. And thanks to Amnesty International and a few other government agencies, my mom was freed and we were given asylum to Montreal. So I arrived in Montreal. I was 5 years old, and basically our government had sent death squads to find us in Montreal to make sure we wouldn't speak of our experience. And we were chased and harassed all over Montreal, and we ended up at a women's shelter. We're basically running for our lives, and we actually had to flee Canada and back to another country called Nicaragua. And Nicaragua is a beautiful country. It's got a lot of beautiful places. I remember going to the beach. I remember having friends there. I even have family. Actually, half my family is from Nicaragua. But if you remember, in the 80s, another war broke out in Nicaragua with the Sandinistas, and it was just a place where we couldn't stay anymore, so we were on the run once again. by the time we ended up back in Canada, I was 9 years old, and I had missed a lot of educational opportunities. And to make a long story short, I had a tough time integrating into school, and I was diagnosed with a few different learning disabilities, and I was labeled, actually, believe it or not, disabled. And they said I was not going to accomplish anything with my life, and I might as well start learning to use my hands because I was probably good with my hands. And my question was, how do you know? I don't build anything. So, Lizy, at about 15 years old, I got frustrated and I actually dropped out of high school. And after some situations at home, I left home and I ended up on the streets, panhandling, up to no good, getting in trouble. And what actually happened to me, it was a life-changing event at 17 years old when my girlfriend at the time tells me, I'm pregnant, it's yours, and I'm going to keep the baby. And I tell people about that moment because it doesn't, people say, well, how did you feel? How did you feel that very moment? And to me, I tell you, at 17 years old, I'm a kid myself. And I didn't really register what she was saying until I was in the hospital. And the nurse is walking into the room, and she hands me my daughter. And everything changed. And, you can talk to as many successful people, and the moment they discover the reason why, that's the moment where everything starts to shift. And my life changed. I went back to school, and I was determined to make this little girl proud of me. I was determined. If it wasn't for me anymore, it was for her. And I said, I'm going to go back to school. After school, I'm going to start a business. I graduated high school at 19 years old. And by the age of, I started my business at the same time. By the age of 20, my company was grossing over $1 million in sales. And what I actually discovered, Lizy, that it wasn't, because at 15 years old, being homeless, I had so much to blame. I had so many people to blame. I could blame, the education system. I could blame the governments of the world, the wars, and all these things. But it wasn't until my daughter was born that I actually took responsibility for my own life. And I said, if I want things to change in my life, I'm the one that's going to have to change. So when I started to change, things around me started to change. And I sat down at 17 years old, and I wrote a list of goals, of the things that I wanted to accomplish in my life. And I actually completed that full list by 20 years old. I had to rewrite my list. So
beautiful.
To make a long story short, what kind of got me started was a powerful reason why, a strong belief in myself, and effective goal setting, which I call it, I've gone into master goal setting, because this is what I go around, speaking about, is this, how to create that life of your dreams, how to live that life of your dreams. And I tell you, you just said it in the bio, I was in Reader's Digest, I have my own television program, I speak across the country. I've even spoken internationally. And if someone were to tap me on the shoulder at 15 years old, they would have said, this is the life you're going to have, I would have said, you're crazy. So a lot of it was belief, a strong reason why, and real effective goal setting. So
this is beautiful.
I just gave it to you all in a nutshell.
This is beautiful. I need to applaud you. This is fantastic. You're listening to the LizyT radio show. We are live today. We have an amazing, I knew that he was going to make my show, but I had no idea to what extent. If you're just tuned in right now, we are live today. Is July the 10th. What a beautiful day. The theme of the day, as you have heard me earlier, today is the International Happy Day. So my goodness, perfect fit in for Alfonso. We have have Alfonso with us right now, and he is an author. He is a TV host. He's a motivational speaker, and he has turned his life around at the age of 17. He went through amazing struggles in his life. And don't tell me, you that are listening, you that are on the other side right now, on your tablet, on your phone, on your computer, that, hey, Lizy, you always bring successful people to the show. Don't go telling me this, because you've heard it from Alfonso. He was never there before. He had to work really, really, really hard to achieve what his goal, what his purpose in life was, and he found his why. This is the reason I do the LizyT radio show, to give people purpose of the why. And before I forget, Alfonso, I wanted to make sure that people that are listening to all over the world right now, and they're listening to your beautiful and amazing story, and they're thinking, wow, I need to get in touch with you. This is what the LizyT radio show is all about. Tell me who you are, what you do. So what exactly do you do for people in order to help them to do in their life what you did in yours?
Thank you, Lizy. Well, basically, a part of my company, what I do is I do some life and business coaching consulting, because if the life is not fixed, you can't go and fix the business. It kind of goes hand in hand. Now, what I do, I sit down and I have a 3-step process. And before we get into this 3-step process, we got to go into your beliefs, and what are your beliefs, and why are some beliefs holding you back. And as you know, some beliefs do hold us back. And then we go into a 3-step process where we figure out step number 1, and these are the 3 steps in my book, and I'm going to give you the cliff notes, but step number 1 is figure out what exactly is that you want in your life. And if you can figure out what is that you want in detail, the more details the better, the more specific the better, because people can say, oh yeah, it's I have a general idea of what I want. No, it has to be very specific, down to the to the color of the house, down to the numbers that you want to see in your bank account. If you can be very specific and go and write that down so it becomes powerful. You see, Lizy, the goal is nothing if you don't write it down. Because before you write it down, it's just something in the air. Once you write it down, you've made a commitment. You can see it on paper.
It's concrete.
Yeah, and you know what I'm going to say about that? It has to be in balance. It can't just be about Ferraris and X amount of dollars in your bank account. You need to have spiritual goals. You need to have personal development goals. You need to have relationship goals. You need to have social contribution goals. It needs to be a balance, because if there's no balance, there'll be a discord, and you'll be moving further away from the things that you want. Now, I can go on for days at figuring out what, but step number 2, Lizy, is figuring out who is the you that is living that life of your dreams. Who is the you that has all those things that you want? Who do you need to become? Lizy, are you familiar with Jim Rohn?
Oh, yes.
Okay, he said, success is what you attract by the person you become. And that's a quote that really resonates with me and has resonated with me for a very long time, because it's about becoming. Because everybody wants to have it and aren't willing to become it. Who is that person that corresponds to that life that you want? You have to be a vibrational match to the things that you want. You see, everybody wants to have it, but they're unwilling to become it. They want to have an above-average life, and they're living below average. They're a below-average person. So in order to reach high and be at the place where your goals are at, where the life of your dream is at, you have to become. So what does that mean? Well, make a list. Make a list of everything. Who do you need to know? What do you need to know? How do you dress? Lizy, if you're living that life of your dreams, you always do you remember that Freedom 55 commercial?
I remember.
You remember? He's running down the beach and he sees himself in the future, right? And he's very relaxed. So he has a vision of himself. So if you can capture that vision, and it has to be in detail, and it has to be very specific, and write down exactly who's that person you need to become, then step number 3 is very easy, because step number 3 is become that person now. Because the second you decide to become, that's when you have the power to move mountains. And that's when I sit down with my clients, we go through that. And I have a workbook that at first, what are the things that you want? Let's put these in balance. Who's that person you need to become, and how can we become that person now? Because, Lizy, I'm going to tell you, if you become that person today, you will attract that life you want. Because
it's so true.
Everybody wants to have it, but they're unwilling to become it. In order for you to have it, you need to be it. So if you can do it now, start today, this very second. But not right now. You have to wait to the end of the show, end of the program. LizyT will be very upset at me if you do this right now. But as soon as the show's over, you go out into the world and you become that person now.
Fantastic. This is beautiful. You're listening to the LizyT radio show. We are live today. It's July the 10th. My goodness, time is just flying. Enjoy the summer. You have right now with you in the tip of your hands. Amazing advice. He is the person that you need to get in touch with if you're looking to change your life. The link is right on my social media, Facebook.com/LizyT Radio, on Twitter as well, LizyT Radio. And also, if you are on Blog Talk Radio, there's a link. The link to his website is there. I have placed on my social media right now the link to Success by Design. And that is the question that I want to ask him next. How did you get involved with this amazing TV show? You bring people all the time with a lot of information. How did you landed this amazing opportunity?
It's a great question, Lizy. Thank you very much. Just going back on what you were saying, I'm going to shout out my website, Alfonso Cuadra. That's ALFONSOCUADRA.com. So if anybody wants any information of anything, I have CDs, tapes, all these things, they can go to the website. Now, going back to your question, how did I get involved with the program? Well, it's just been this incredible journey, that started back, when my daughter was born. That I was really my mission was to make her proud of me. And when you have a strong enough why, you're unstoppable. If your why is strong enough, you're unstoppable. And I was about 26, 27, and I look back and I had seen everything that I had accomplished, and I realized that wow, this is not normal, And I started reading books, and I came upon a book, Think and Grow Rich, and all the information. I became a information junkie, Lizy. Information junkie. I would read every
I love Napoleon Hill.
Every seminar. So then I wanted to share this. I wanted to share this with others, and I started in my business. Some clients would come in, and I would start coaching them. And so I said, I want to move this to a broader audience because I have so many ideas. So I went to YouTube, and YouTube, I just started vlogging. And for people out there, you're very familiar with the blogging, which is writing, but this is vlogging. It's a video blog, a video blog. So I just started, sharing my experiences, and this is how Reader's Digest got informed of what I was doing. And then they published this article, 7-page profile on my life. And then people started to connect with me. And then I said, wow, that's not the impressive part. The impressive part to me, Lizy, was that all these people, were inspired because of my story, and they would follow me. And I said, wow, and we ask our kids all the time, what do you want to do with your life? And I put it this way, how are you going to use your life? And that became my mission. How was I going to use my life in order to inspire others to live theirs to the highest capacity? And, I started getting a big following on YouTube. Right now I'm over 500,000 views on my vlogs, and I said, you know what? I want to bring this to a bigger audience. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start a little program where, you know, just like you, Lizy, you know, you want to just interview, you just want to talk to successful people and find out how they did it. And, you know, I started my own thing on online, and then I approached Rogers. They loved it, and now I'm on season 3, going into season 4.
Wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Fantastic. You're listening to the LizyT Radio Show. We're live today, and we have an amazing guest with us, Alfonso Cuadra. He has given us his website, but I wanted to make sure that before we are continuing on our musical section, that he gives us his website and all his social media information and phone number. If you're interested in being coached with Alfonso Cuadra, make sure you contact him. He is definitely a person that have been there and done that, and now he can testify to all his success. And not talking about just money success. I'm talking about finding your why and making sure that you do what you love to do. I will have a couple of more questions for Alfonso, but before I'll break on for a couple of my words of my sponsor. I'll be right back.
It's no secret that being overweight has become a worldwide epidemic. Being overweight can lead to dramatic increases in diabetes, heart disease, cancer, stroke, arthritis, and depression. Consider the following. 8 out of 10 Americans over the age of 25 are overweight, and 26 million children and adults in the U.S. have diabetes. If you're like millions of others, you've probably tried this diet or that pill, but you never got the results you wanted. In fact, the Centers for Disease Control reports that 95% of all diets and weight loss programs fail. Finally, there is an all-natural healthy solution to help you lose weight. Originally made for diabetics, Plexus Slim and Accelerator taken together just 1 time per day can help you lose the weight. People around the country.
This show is sponsored by Triple.co.
You're an entrepreneur. Your life is filled with people, possibilities, and choices that influence your success. You understand the importance of differentiation and how it can be the difference between a good opportunity and a truly life-changing experience. Synergy Worldwide is unlike any other company in the world. We combine the highest quality products with the most innovative and lucrative compensation plan in the industry. Our company is 100% debt-free and continues to provide a solid foundation where everyone can succeed. So when you ask yourself, what makes Synergy different from everyone else? Your answer is simple, the Synergy Advantage.
And we're back. I'm your host and the producer of the LizyT Radio Show. We are live today, July 10th, our same time, Monday to Friday, 7:30. We're here with amazing guests, and my goodness, do we have one for you today. I am so happy and pumped up. This guy has motivated me to change things around. You know how you get settled sometimes. And Alfonso, what do you think this is? Why do you think that as an entrepreneur and somebody who has hundreds, especially for us women, why do we settle, or why do we have compliances once in a while?
Lizy, thank you for that question. It's a very good question. A lot of people always ask that question. I have one answer for them: fear. Fear always stops everybody. And on top of fear is belief. If you have a certain belief that, you know, you've grown up with certain ways of doing things, it's very hard to get out of that paradigm. And
yes.
This is when fear comes in, and fear stops, 90% of the people out there, because they're unwilling to try. Well, what if I fail? And I always tell people, well, what if you succeed? Right? It's how you believe things are to be. If you believe things are hard, they will be hard. If you believe money is hard to get, money will be hard to get. It's very simple to figure out why someone is successful or unsuccessful just by their language. You can see where their beliefs are. You know, we run into these people every day, right? Oh, my life is horrible. People, beating a drum of all the things that they don't have. And they're creating more of that in their life, and this is when they get stuck, right? Because it's like they get comfortable. And there's this old story of a man sitting on a porch with there's a dog on the porch, an old hound, and the hound is moaning. And this gentleman walks by and is like, "Excuse me, sir, didn't you notice your dog is moaning on the porch?" The dog's like, "Why? Why?" And, the dog is moaning, and the owner says, "Oh, no, he's just sitting on a nail." And if we want to put it, to the rest of society, we are sitting on a nail. And then the gentleman says, "Well, why doesn't he just get up off the nail?" And then he says, "Well, it doesn't hurt bad enough." And that's what happens, That's what we get so settled in and comfortable because and we complain, we whine and complain. We're sitting on this nail, but it doesn't hurt bad enough. And sometimes it just takes that day, right, when someone is repoing your car for someone to act. But why did I have to get to that, right? So
exactly.
It's belief, and at the same time is the paradigms and fear. Because everything we want, Lizy, everything we want in life is at the other side of fear. Everything.
It's so true.
Everything we want is at the other side of fear. So we need to be uncomfortable a little bit. And this is hard for people to understand because, I thought the point of living your dream life was to be comfortable. No. If once you get there you give up, then you don't have no reason to be there. Right?
It's so true.
It's all about learning and growing and reaching your highest potential. That's why we're here. That's why we're here on this planet, is to reach our highest potential. We're not here to just relax and, go home and watch television. This is why goals is important. I had a friend, and he had a vision board. Lizy, you know what a vision board is, right?
Yes.
A dream board. So he would put his dream board in front of his television. And people would come by and make fun of him, like, "That's ugly. Why are you putting that in front of your television?" He said, it's a very strong thing of me achieving my goals, and this is why. Every time I go and watch television, I literally have to pick up my goals and put them aside.
Wow.
I literally have to pick up my goals and put them aside to watch television. And this is what happens. We get comfortable. We go home, we turn on the television, and we live in this regular life, but we expect above average results when we're living such a regular life. If we want above average results, we need to be above average people. And all it takes is just get out of your comfort zone. Just get out of your comfort zone, because everything you want is at the other side of fear.
Fantastic. Now, you have this amazing book, and the title is just out of this world. What would you say? I mean, I know what inspires you, but what would you say that motivated you to write this book for us?
Lizy, thank you. The book, actually the title is From the Ground Up. You're 3 steps away from living the life of your dreams. And the book is kind of like an autobiography / success guide. The autobiography is the story that I shared with you about my life, how I came from a war-torn country. I struggled through the education system and ultimately, ended up on the streets, panhandling and being homeless. So that's to me, that's the ground. That's from the ground, And I discovered my why, and I sat down and I wrote a list of goals. And the second I did this, I gave it power, and I had a clear path of where I was going. And then looking back, this is where the 3 steps come from, figuring out what you want, who is the you that you need to become in order to be a match to the things that you want, and becoming that person now, and that's action. So this has been my philosophy, and I said, you know what, I want to extend this and write a book. And Lizy, to be honest with you, I probably will only write about 5 books in my whole life, because I have a few other philosophies to share with people. But this book is kind of, it's a work of my blood, sweat, and tears, and is there and it's something I will leave behind. And you know what? It's legacy. I wanted to leave something behind for my kids, my grandkids, so they can say, you know what, this was the philosophy, and I want them to take on the philosophy and add things to it and continue to grow whatever they're going to do with their lives.
Fantastic. You're listening to the LizyT radio show. We're live today. We're starting to come to the end of the program, but before we do that, I wanted to make sure that Alfonso gives us where can people, and thanks to the internet and thanks to social media and thanks to all the advance in technology, you that are anywhere in the world, you're able to hook up and connect with Alfonso. So, Alfonso, can you please go ahead? Is there a 1-800 number, a website, and a social media? Please go ahead and share with my listeners.
Well, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Alfonso13. That's at Alfonso13. If you on Facebook, Alfonso Cuadra. I have two. I have a page, a personal page. If you want to follow me, my program, you can go online, successbydesignshow.com. That's successbydesignshow.com. Also on YouTube. So on the website, it's only season 1, but on YouTube you have season 2. Currently, season 3 is on Rogers. If you're in Ottawa, you can catch that. But if not, I'm going to repost season 3 when season 4 is about to start. If you want to come to my website, that's alfonsocuadra.com. That's ALFONSOCUADRA.com. And, of course, the email, the best way to reach me is by email, info@alfonsocuadra.com. And let's connect. And, thank you, Lizy, for having me on the program. We had a blast, didn't we?
It's been fantastic. I am so pumped up and motivated by you, and this has been fantastic. It's been really an eye-awakening for me, and I'm hoping that for all of you listeners that are listening to us all over the world, I have to thank you and applaud you for being here at the LizyT radio show and being part of this amazing network. And don't forget, I am in Ottawa quite often, so we have to hook up. Love to have pictures with the people that I interview, and you are not going to be the exception. So hook up, everyone, with Alfonso. He is right here in Canada. And, again, thanks to social media, if you want to be able to be coached by him, obviously the Internet has allowed us to connect people all over the world. So Skype is there if you are willing. I assume you do coaching via Skype and things like that. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alfonso. It's been a blast. I cannot believe you are not going to believe that, but the amount of motivation and I love your passion. I love the way you talk about this lovely and a story. It really has been a blast, and I know that you have touched many people. Your story is definitely an example for all of us that are perhaps some of you are struggling out there that have this idea for a business, or you haven't found your why. I don't know. There's so many things that you are probably thinking, how can I overcome this? And I think Alfonso has the answer for you. Any last word?
I just want to say thank you. It's people like you that continue to spread this knowledge, and and that's a gift. You are giving people a gift to allow people to share their stories, because going back more on motivational and inspirational, we look for motivation, but we really should be looking for inspiration, because it's those inspiring moments that make us unstoppable. And so thank you for putting on such a great program, and I am sure gonna come back again.
Absolutely. I'd love to have you back. Thank you so much, and hanging tight in there.
And you know what? I'm going to bring you on my show. You're going to come on you're going to come on television, because, radio, okay? You like radio, but come on television.
I'm gonna hold you to it. I'll be right back. This is your host and the producer of the LizyT radio show. Moving on, our musical section. This is a perfect fit for the LizyT radio show. Thanks to Ramiro, the manager of Zeta Chamber, Canada's winner for the Grammy here in our humble show is here with the song El Camino, and I hope you enjoy. This is the theme song in Canada for the World Cup, Vida Chambers.
Vira, muito bem, seja bem-vindo, Brasil! Brasil!